And then I have some drawings here.
Oh yeah?
I brought some drawings from the film. Because a lot of people don't know how, animation is, at least my animation is made. So the drawings help show the technique.
Would you love me if I forgot your birthday, gave your shoes away, refused to shave? Would you love me if I blew up a deli, got a big fat belly, and became real smelly? Would you love me if I wore a tutu, rode a kangaroo with a beehive hairdo? Would you love me if I put a big rock in the toe of your sock and forced you to walk?
First of all, I started out as an illustrator, and when I became an illustrator, I developed my own ideas, my own stories, my own gags. I did comic strips that were, 1 page or 4 pages. So when I started doing short films, it just seemed natural that I would do it myself rather than go to a big studio, because big studios don't like short films. So I made Your Face and How to Kiss and One of Those Days, and those were big successes. And then I had an idea for a long metrage, The Tune. And I actually did go to studios trying to sell it. And the problem they had was that it had adult material in it. It wasn't for children. And right away I realized that the studios did not want to have films with stories with adult ideas, adult themes in it. So the only way I figured I could make it was to finance it myself. It was a very low budget film. I think it was about $100,000 or something. And the film was not a big success, but I liked the method. I liked the working technique of making a film by myself. So I never really wanted to or needed to go to a big studio to get money. I knew already they would say no. So why waste my time and get the rejection? So I just felt more comfortable working on the films on my own in my own time. I control all the films, I own all the copyrights, and this is what I did with the shorts. So the pattern with the shorts was the pattern I used with the long metrage. I'm getting to the point now where my films are pretty successful, and I'm making enough money on the films. I'm not rich or anything, but I'm getting by, and I have that freedom to make the films when I want. No one's going to tell me not to make them that way, and I have no one saying, yeah, I have to change anything. And I guess I'm become sort of comfortable making the films the way I want to make. And so there's no need to work with Lasseter or Disney or DreamWorks. Yeah. Well, it was a romance I had about 15 years ago. I won't tell you her name. She wouldn't like that. And it was a very passionate romance. I mean, I thought this was the woman I would spend the rest of my life with. And after a few months, it turned very bad, and we had a lot of fights, and very angry fights, and at some point we wanted to kill each other. And I thought, that's really interesting that we were so in love just a while ago, and then now we want to kill each other. And it's kind of a duality thing. I mean, I'm still still excited about her, I still want to have sex with her, but at the same time I want to kill her. So I wanted to use that duality, that crazy duality that is in our emotions, our romantic emotions, and show that in this film where Ella, even though her husband is cheating on her and having sex with all these tramps, she still wants to make love to him. And that's what I thought was a really interesting idea. Now people may think that that's absurd, that, you know, who would ever feel that way? But you look at the South African trial now with Oscar Pistorius and how he killed his girlfriend, yet he still loved her. And so it happens every day. It's not that abnormal. But I wanted to use it as a comedy, use the humor, see the humor in this, terrible, terrible love relationship. A lot of the criticism of my other films, like L'impitoyable de Miel and Mutant à l'espace and Hair High, were that they were just jokes. Lots of jokes about sex and violence, and there was no real story. And I'm not a good writer. I know that I'm not a good writer. I prefer to concentrate on the visual aspects of the film, the drawing and the caricature and the exaggeration, humor, and things like that. So both with Idiots and Angels and this film, I wanted to explore more the characters, the personalities, the story. Yeah, there's a little bit of humor, a little bit of sex, a little bit of violence, but mostly it was character driven. But I think for my next film I will be more jokes, more crazy jokes, because I love that. I love telling films, showing films that are really outrageous and bizarre and surreal. That to me is what filmmaking should be.
But you do actually all the drawing yourself?
All the drawing, every drawing, yeah.
You don't have like assistant who give
No.
them a character? And
No, I do all the shading and all the highlights and all the texture is all me. I did, I think 40,000 drawings for this film. Around 40,000, probably the most drawings I've ever done for a film, because this one is a little bit smoother, a little more detailed, a little more complex than my other films. So it was a pleasure. I did it in about a year and a half, something like that. Everybody tells me I should go into digital animation, that I am a dinosaur, that I'm doing the old-fashioned way, I should become more modern. And I tell them if they can make an animated film with computers for $100,000 or $200,000, then I'd be interested. But a Pixar film costs $200 million. I don't have that kind of money. Oh, for my film, we had at the most 10 people working on it, doing the artwork, doing the coloring. Of course, we had musicians and the editor and the sound editor. So all in all, maybe 20 people, something like that. For a Pixar film, oh my gosh, it must be like 800, maybe 1,000 people. It's a lot. And I just don't think I would like to lose the pleasure of doing the drawings. For me, making the drawings is the fun part. Doing the storyboards, doing the layouts, doing the animation. That is what I love to do. So why would I give that up to make a computer animated film? From the with you, run off through the back door. Press the line, and it shall explode. What gets me is that the Pixar films, which are wonderful films, they're really good films, but for me they're too cold. They're mechanical. They're electronic. Everything's perfect. The lines, circles are perfect. The lines are straight. Everything is exactly the way it should be. Whereas my films have a lot of mistakes in them, a lot of errors, a lot of craziness. The drawings are crude, rough. They go over the line. I make a lot of mistakes. But this is what you would see in a gallery. If you go see an exhibition of drawings or paintings, you see that human touch, the human feeling for artwork. And that's what I love about animation, is you have storytelling and filmmaking storytelling, but with artwork that you could see in a museum. And that's the best thing in the world. Why would you want to see anything else? It's like going to a museum and seeing wonderful stories. If Degas was an animator, can you imagine seeing his paintings coming to life and moving? That would be the best art form in the world. I prefer making films that have minimal dialogue, because doing lip sync is very difficult. It's very time consuming and arduous. Also, it's easier to sell overseas. If there's not a lot of dialogue, it's easy to sell to foreign countries if they don't have to put a lot of voices on top, translations and things like that. And also, I think it's more poetic. The poetry of just telling a story visually, to me, is very powerful. It's very emotional, and I like that. It's original, too. Not many people do that. I do not get good distribution, especially in America. There is a stereotype that an animated film that is not computer animated or for kids is not going to sell. And I disagree. I think that this film could be very popular in America. You look at a Tarantino film, which is basically a cartoon with real actors, are very popular. So I know there's an audience for my film, but the Hollywood distributors and producers don't agree. They think it's a stupid idea to make animation for adults. And that's another stereotype of Hollywood, is they really don't know how to deal with animation. Last year, 2013, of the top 10 grossing films, 4 of them were animated films, plus Gravity, which was animated, but it wasn't your typical animated film. And they made the most money. Yet Hollywood still only wants to make films with actors and directors and cameramen and makeup and costuming. That's their mindset, that's their pattern, that's their heritage. And they don't understand animation, they don't know how to deal with it, they don't know how to support it. And that's very frustrating to me, and I wish Hollywood would change, because the audience wants to see animation. They prefer animation over the live action films.